the GMC version. But no, so Ranchero, none of these are El Camino. They're just look at everybody.
Technically, that's an El Camino. It's the same body, everything. It's just the GMC version. The lesser trim model was the Caballero. And I think they had 3 different custom types of the Diablo, and then they had like a Black Knight edition, I think, as well. And then one other, if I'm not mistaken. And it had their own graphics and this and that. But yeah, it's an interesting one for sure. Like I said, she's rotten.
We like them rotten and dirty, and it just shows how.
I mean, there's patina and then there's rotten.
It just shows the love, man. Or if some people be like, if it's ugly enough for me, for somebody else not to even bother me about knocking on my door asking me if.
People stop and ask me if this one's for sale. Buddy, sorry.
That's a buddy's?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Man. You mind if we open her up to look at that little dash? Or is she locked down?
He's even got his own way of starting it, obviously.
See, we used to do the screwdriver against the solenoid sometimes.
This one you gotta like do a switch and do something with the pedal or something. Like you got a whole spiel that if you know how to start it, you're doing good.
Oh man! Now, is it a 5-speed or just a
5-speed? Yeah, it was interesting. Like I didn't realize they had kind of a hot rod 5-speed limited slip version essentially. Yeah, this one was another friend's dad's car. I think it was a 351 car, if I'm not mistaken. The block at some point cracked, and they kind of was like, okay, we don't want to deal with that. But he's having me redo. I've got to pull the motor back out to then redo the engine bay. And he wants to essentially make the engine bay beautiful and the interior beautiful, and then keep the patina on the outside at this point.
Yeah.
But the most interesting part is the engine that's going in. It's actually a Lexus/Toyota 2JZ straight 6 that we're going to be putting in it.
Oh man.
So it's got motor mounts straight out of Australia. I didn't have to make them myself. They bolt right in, and I had to mess with the transmission mount, but not too bad.
So is the new engine going to be the same size, or is this the engine?
This is the engine, essentially. It's just been sitting out in the weather a little bit. But
is it going to have something that does that fancy stuff on the top?
no, it's just going to be a faux scoop at that point. You know?
That'll work.
And what's funny is it had the scoop on it, and that there's a Father's Day windstorm, essentially, and that was the only thing that blew away somehow.
Dang.
Because I came here, I'm like, oh, all this stuff is still. And I realized the scoop is just gone one day. I'm
Yeah, I like these kind of windshields. These are the best.
like, you don't have to worry about bugs hitting it, you know.
Yeah, that's great.
She's a cool car. The patina's pretty cool. Just wants to get some of the wallops out of it and just kind of preserve it mostly, I think.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. Shoot. Hoosier, is that some type of local tire company, or is that somebody
No,
just...
it's a race tire for like. There's a lot of dirt track tires from Hoosier, but these are definitely more of a tarmac tire. Just an older, you know, like that. No, they use Hoosier for like NASCAR, but it would be kind of a NASCAR thing, kind of like the Goodyear, but of course Goodyear is all over NASCAR.
Yeah. I don't even know. Do they make Pirellis in the 90s?
Oh, yeah.
I had to have Pirellis all the
yeah.
time.
Pirellis are probably one of the number one tire on some of the supercars nowadays, if I'm not mistaken.
My dad worked for Pirelli for a short time down in Madison. I don't know. It was one of their... I'm hoping it was Pirelli's because it was right there on Gallatin Road in Madison.
Right.
And something about those in the 70s built in my head, and then in the 90s I was like, Pirelli's.
They're fancy tires. Can't get them cheap, that's all.
Yep. So guys, this one's not for sale. He's working on it for a friend or a customer. And are y'all going to do any type of custom backing on it, topper?
No, I mean this was. I mean, I imagine they had one on it because of all the buttons, but I've never seen one or seen it, anyways. Because I mean, it's got like all the stays here for one, but
You don't think that's something somebody would have gone like after this was made and did this post-op?
I imagine it
that
might
much
have
trouble?
because I don't know if Ford would have done something like that from the factory because it has the chrome trim that sits on top of here. So I would imagine if Ford were to do it, they would have done something on the trim itself, not on the bars.
Right. What it used to have, was that an emblem or is there kind of felt?
Trim, okay. Because I think it just had a black roof. I don't think it had the vinyl. It definitely has. At least I had a '60 Ranchero, and it had trim that went all the way up and around, but that one almost looks like it doesn't. It's been a while since I've seen full pictures.
Nice little chrome around the window. Yeah. I wish they'd come back with so you can get some cool air without, opening the whole damn or a cigarette for me. Catching my car on fire for the third time. Shoot. Well, that's awesome. That was the two right there. And those are some surprises right there. The Nissan guys, I didn't know there'd be some gearheads for Nissans.
Right. Well, this one is another Japanese Nissan Silvia. So essentially, it's the same model as the one over there that's black.
Okay, but
That one's the American left-hand drive 240SX. Japanese Silvia. It's a little dirty. This front bumper alone is like a $2,000 bumper if you were to buy it separately.
Oh, goodness.
It's called what they call an aero bumper. It just kind of comes down more flat and has these grills. The normal one kind of sucks back under and doesn't look as cool and as hidden.
But does it do any kind of aerodynamic stuff?
Not that I'm aware of, but it does. So the scoops on the side, it has a side mount intercooler on that side that's in that kind of wheel well that would get better air because of that.
Gotcha.
Normally they have a little scoop on the one side on the normal bumpers, but it doesn't get quite as much air as that, I don't think.
Okay.
And I've been doing some things like injectors and just figuring out why it doesn't want to run right.
Now,
Slammed it on the ground.
okay. I was wondering about the wheel tilting.
Normally it has the wheels that are in the back, and this one's the one that's the correct fitment for the rear. I think he's got a front on the rear on that side. But this is actually raised up for him. It's usually a little bit lower, and then he's got the same type of wheels for the front, but he raised it up on the front so he could put it on a trailer to bring it here.
Okay.
Because otherwise he couldn't get it on the trailer.
Man.
Yeah, the rear spring rate on the coilovers that are on are like 50,000
bucks.
No, like 50K spring rate.
Okay.
So like pounded sure wood, like So driving this is like driving it on bump stops almost. It's just super bouncy. It's ridiculous.
Twin cam turbo. There we go.
And it only has 88,000 original kilometers on the clock, so it's like 57,000 miles on it for an 88, 89.
Yeah. Well, how long do you think your job on it will take place?
I'm pretty well done with it at this point. He's going to have me build an exhaust for it later when he gets a little bit more money and stuff. After replacing the injectors and doing some timing and doing this and that, she's pretty well ready to go. He just needs to put the stock exhaust back on because it's just open dump pipe at this point.
Oh, dual exhaust that bad boy. They were already dual exhaust, weren't they?
Well, this one's a 1.8 liter turbo, so it single exhaust is perfectly fine.
Oh, okay.
That one, being the V6, I've got the headers with the dual X pipe underneath it. It's the V6.
Yeah.
But it only comes out the one side because I didn't want it to look weird. And it has a gas tank on the other side, so it's kind of in the way.
Oh, yeah. Well, I appreciate you doing this, man. And, Do you have a website or anything that people?
Faber Auto. I'm on Instagram and Facebook and things. So just one of those things.
All right, bud.
Just